My name's Bobby Williams, and this is my shadow work. This kind of started with my ego death, and I guess the first dream was a dream of a horribly deformed old man in a town with pigs that was flopping around in mud. And I took that dream to mean I was rejecting wisdom of some kind, which I believe to be integrity. Integrity is important because it gets people to take you serious and trust you. So I've never really cared for integrity. Always had that kind of Jack Sparrow kind of thing going on in my life. Uh, the second dream was something I kind of glanced over, which was I was walking through a forest and there was some type of matriarchal female figure overseeing my adventure. And I was looking at a crab eating a fruit. And crabs are funny because they're tough creature. They're armored. Fruits often symbolize some type of renewal, but crabs also walk sideways. They go through everything. They never take the direct path. They always go sideways. So this could be a sign that I'm trying to avoid something, which I kind of am. Yeah. Now the third dream, obviously the forest in the other dream represents it's a mysterious forest, a place I've never been before. Uh, a path to self-discovery. That's obviously what I believe what that represents. Dreams are open to interpretation. I love psychology, but I never ever was it's parapsychology because dreams can be super complex, but this is what I think they mean. Yeah. Now the third dream I had happened last night. I there were these bizarre hound like creatures. I don't know how to describe them. They were twisted and maldeformed. And I was in a shadow forest, like haunted, kind of like weird, familiar but unknown place. I've and these hounds were biting around my legs as if they were demonstrating they were going to bite my legs, or they just had their mouths like mauling my legs, but not actually trying to eat them, just chewing on them. And the emotion I felt in that was weirdly curiosity. I was confused as to what these things were and exactly what they were doing. And as I looked at them, I began to question exactly what was going on here. So, my theory, because it involves teeth and baring your teeth in nature, can be a sign of aggression, something angry. And these things were projecting anger. They were angry, and I kind of just don't do legitimate aggression. So my theory is the shadow self is repressed things that your ego repressed from you because it deemed them not needed. The something like that. It's a Carl Jung thing. The creatures could represent repressed aggression, because later I turned into them and ran with the pack. Which weirdly, even when I was a kid, I used to have this dream of I would just be chasing somebody and I'd be chasing somebody on all fours. I'd still be me, I was just running at them on all fours. No idea why I did that, but tangent. Aggression is often hidden in the shadow self, the part of the psyche that contains the traits of emotions repressed or disowned because they we deem them unacceptable. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, who coined the concept, believed that our shadow selves act as a counterweight to our conscious personality, or persona. When we deny our own aggressive impulses, they don't disappear, they go underground, where they can emerge in unhealthy, unexpected ways. How aggressions are driven. During childhood, we learn which emotions are acceptable to express. How aggressions are driven into the shadows. During childhood, we learn which emotions are acceptable to express. Many of us are taught to suppress feeling like anger and rage and jealousy because they are seen as bad or unlovable. As we build a persona that feels more palatable to our family and society, these powerful primal emotions are pushed into the subconscious and become a part of the shadow. When thinking of the shadow self, you should kind of think of Nega Scott, not like Shadow Link, where you're gonna beat his ass. I met my shadow self last night, and he was absolutely terrifying. Yeah, and all he wanted to do was sit down, and I believe it wanted to talk. It just doesn't communicate in the form that we communicate. Passive aggressive behaviors is one of the negative manifestations. Probably everybody in this church think you're narcissistic church leader. Passive aggressive, someone who unconsciously fears confrontation, might express their aggressions indirectly through sarcasm, stubbornness, or resentment. That's not what these church leaders do. They're not that articulate. Projection, that is something they do. A common coping mechanism is to project your own unacceptable traits onto others. For example, a person repressing their own hostile feelings might perceive others as overly aggressive or critical. I don't do that. Projection doesn't. I do understanding, so that's not me. Hypercritical behavior. Guilty. Guilty. The shadow can cause someone to become overly critical of others, judging them harshly for their very traits they have rejected in themselves. This can also manifest as intense, polarized views about people or groups. Guilty. Sudden disproportionate outbursts. The shadow can be triggered by stress, anxiety, specific people, or situations. This may cause exaggerated, seemingly irrational emotions, reaction that can be an outburst of repressed anger. Self-sabotage. I spoke about this. In some cases, repressed aggression can turn inward, resulting in self-destructive behaviors or a need to control every aspect of one's life. I didn't realize that was a part of self-sabotaging. That one just kind of blew my mind. I have repressed anger because I was abused as a kid. And when you're abused as a kid, lashing out in anger and trying to beat up somebody that's way bigger than you doesn't work. It doesn't. The other entity is way bigger, and anger becomes pointless. Which is why I just stopped expressing it. I remember the very moment I'd lashed out, swinging at Nick, screaming like a small child does, and he beat the shit out of me. I remember getting kicked in the chest by that guy so hard I flew into the air and into a TV console one time. So, yes, I have repressed aggression, and I believe these creatures that were in the woods last night that were assaulting me, and I was kind of like, why are you doing that? We don't do that here. I actually personally try to maintain a clear conscience. Literally, literally. A long time ago, I remembered having this. I used to meditate before bed, and I'd always end up at this castle. And the castle was blocking the view, so I destroyed it. And then there were chunks of white walls everywhere, and as I broke down each wall, I found that these were literal barriers. Like, imagine racism and how being racist can cut you off from somebody, or hating gays and how hating gays can cut you off from somebody, or having a fetish like liking fat chicks and not being honest with yourself can cut yourself off from getting a fat chick. That kind of thing. But, hypercritical. If you go back and watch, I don't know, all of my videos, when these people, these church leaders, Stu, Gannon, or even Blondie, if you pay very close attention to the videos, I'm hypercritical of them. I am not going, you're a piece of shit, like you fucking garbage, you killed that innocent girl. I am literally critiquing every fuck up they made, from being disingenuine to straight up lying to inconsistencies in the stories to recognizing when I got poisoned to their childlike threats. And you want to talk about childish as Blondie and Mary Bowberry. Only an idiot in a situation this fucking serious would be like, I'm going to take away one of the prizes I'm going to give you. I'm going to take Mary Bowberry away, man. If I was me from about 6 months ago and I found that out, I would have just given up. I really would have. This would have ended because I didn't get a fat chick, and I was thinking like a aluminum brain depressed 2-year-old, like just how Blondie thinks. And on the subject of Blondie, he can't feel love. So that's how you know he's a diagnosed narcissistic personality disorder. It is not a part of him. Now, the projection, I've always been way too good at reading people, for me to use projection. In fact, like, let's talk about it. Repressed aggression. I don't think I've ever just been like, that guy's angry and they're not angry. Okay. I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah. The hypercritical behavior makes a lot of sense, though, because even when I remember I had a friend in middle school and I snapped on him and I just went off about how every mess up this guy ever made. And I remembered this awkward stare, and he was like, are you one of those people when you get mad, you tell people about every mistake they've ever made? And he's like, you're just hypercritical. You literally don't know how to be just angry. And I was like, what? Yeah. The shadow self, regardless of how terrifying it is, isn't your enemy. Narcissists project. It's weak person shit. Trust me, they were doing it the entire time I was dealing with them at Papa John's. The process of dealing with the shadow self, engaging in the process of shadow work by examining negative traits, fears, desires through journaling, active imagination, and observing projections in others. You must then accept these disowned parts of yourself without judgment, trace origins, your parts, your past, and finally integrate them by finding constructive ways to express the energy. The shadow self is everything you feared. No, the shadow self is just a subconscious amalgamation that's hidden from you for protective reasons, or this things that you didn't deem worthy. Aggression has never been one of my things. Remember I said everything that happened with this church was they just kept acting, and I just kept reacting. They were reacting to me acting, they were acting. They got triggered, started reacting, and then went from reacting to acting. That's what happened. That's what ultimately led them to poisoning me with heavy metals, taking me to court, and trying to put me in prison. Because they couldn't control me, because they're idiots. This, yeah, thing, I never acted out, aggressively toward any of these people, and they see that as a sign of weakness. You're not willing to assault me, but then I also am volcanic. If somebody really pisses me off, I lose my shit and I overreact. You've heard me say it before, don't make me hate you. You don't want that, because I can't let it go. That is because I don't let out the microaggression. I don't let out the... I don't voice the, I'm gonna kill you, like, kind of thing. Stu did it all the time. Just, like, whatever. The master 2-year-old. I never voiced microaggressions. And like I said, even through these videos, I'm nothing but hypercritical. And if there's one thing narcissists hate, they hate it when you're hypercritical of them, because it infringes on their grandiose self. Suddenly, you can point out every flaw, every mistake they've ever made, and they, instead of taking that as constructive criticism, they take it as, I'm not good enough, my dad will never love me. Like, let's hope that's not part of the shadow self, dear God. Yeah, and even all the way up into the court thing, like, I never been a man of action. I've always been a, we're doing this now, which we're in shadow work, I should be doing something else, but now we're doing this now. I don't mind the shadow work. I've always been kind of in tune to myself, so I guess it's not that bad. You're supposed to integrate the shadow self into yourself to become your true self, I guess. I guess I need to learn how to kind of be more of a dick. Yeah, that's where we're leaving here. Yeah.